How many migrants can you bring into a country before it is unrecognizable, before it is no longer British? Will England still be England if white English people are a minority? I don't know, but people are finally asking that question. My name is Stefan Tompson, I'm the founder of Grad24, and today I'm in London in the UK outside the Britannia Hotel, one of many four-star hotels that have been used by the British government to house the migrants.
Gotta get this all on camera.
Oh, refugees welcome, we are on the wrong side. Hello, officers.
Oh, gents.
Good to see you.
No worries. So we are outside the Britannia International Hotel in Canary Wharf, London. This hotel has been used recently to move some of the illegal migrants from Essex to here because local people in Essex were protesting. So they thought if they move them from a different hotel to a new hotel, everything's going to be fine.
Wow, beautiful idea.
But now there are protests in both places. It's spreading like a virus. So they can't control this, and the government, they are desperate to find some sort of policy. We got the left and the Islamists on the other side of the road, who I'm not really sure why they brought the Palestinian flags, but they have. And they are shouting at the white local English people here.
Well, but they're saying that they want all the refugees to come in here, and that you're a fascist asshole and you're a white supremacist Nazi.
Well, they say all refugees, all migrants are welcome here unless they're not left-wing.
Oh.
So people like myself, my mother, we're not welcome here. So
Building here where refugees are being housed, asylum seekers. These idiots over there who are carrying these signs like, I don't know, refugees welcome, all refugees welcome, take as many of them as possible, let them come in, let them do whatever they want to us. For some reason they also seem to be completely fine with people coming over with boats, over tiny boats, and risking the lives of their own families and dying in the sea just so they can have more refugees here. It's just such a stupid, mindless, idiotic attitude. The thing is, the one question that I have is, on the one hand, here in London, in the UK, Keir Starmer, who is supposedly in charge, posts about and talks about how he is doing something to secure the borders, doing something to prevent the massive influx of illegals and all that. On the other hand, you have this going on. We have endless refugee settlements within the city, within the general population going on. It continues. The fabric of society continues changing, and people are supposed to fine with that. People are obviously not fine with it, and they shouldn't be. Western nations should no longer have this stupid illusion that they are the saviors of the world and that they have an obligation to open their doors to everybody and take in everyone. You don't have to save the world, because the world will come to you and they will not save you. And we can see that with the crime stats in London throughout the UK. As Gad Saad calls it, the West doesn't need more suicidal empathy. It's time to stop. It's time to stop being stupid. Stop importing the third world and their broken way of living into the functioning world and destroying this place. Do not be stupid.
This is the main thing that has changed in the last few years. Because people beforehand who were sounding the alarm bells about mass migration were broadly from the working class, the most visible of these being Tommy Robinson, who was the one lone voice of the working class sounding the alarm bells.
In England we have no one. In certain countries in Europe we have no one. We have no one speaking for us, no one defending us, no one defending the future for our children.
Saying that mass migration is transforming the United Kingdom beyond recognition. Obviously he comes from Luton Town, which was the first town in the UK to become minority white British.
I'll talk to you about Luton. I was born in 1982. When I was born in 1982, we had one mosque. I just want you to understand the demographic of the town. In 2014, we now have 30 mosques. The projected government growth forecast for the Pakistani and Bangladeshi community of Luton by 2030 is to increase by 70 to 77%. This would not be a problem if we didn't experience the problems we see related within the community.
Since then, another 11 cities in the UK have become minority white British, including London, Birmingham, and many others. And this change used to impact only the working class. The political representatives the political elites, the establishment, the journalists, the mainstream media journalists, all of these people hailing from the middle class, upper middle class and British elites never had to live with the consequences of mass migration, so they ignored it. This is what has absolutely changed in the last few years in the UK. This is why you're seeing these protests. This is why people are coming outside of hotels, because we're not in Luton Town, we're not in Bury Park, we're not in Rochdale, we're not in Rotherham. No, we are in Canary Wharf, which next to the City of London is one of the great financial centres, financial capitals of the world. This is where illegal migrants are being housed. This is one of the many places across the nation. The demographic change is no longer a phenomenon that can be ignored by the political establishment, by the mainstream media, and by general citizens. All of these people that used to be working class, that used to deal with these demographic shifts and demographic changes, of sending their children to schools that were no longer majority white British students. This is now shifting and it's impacting a whole new swathe of society. And thus we're seeing these protests. The other thing that has changed is the Overton window that has been shifting to the left steadily. Decades and decades and decades of shifting the Overton window left. It has finally been smashed. The stranglehold on culture, this incredible stranglehold that we saw especially in the 2010s and the early 2010s. So that period 2010 to 2015 and then 2015 to 2020 was probably a decade of the pinnacle of woke, where cancel culture was very real. People were seeing their social media accounts being decimated, including a sitting US president. President Trump had his social media accounts nuked. People were seeing their bank accounts shut down by banks. People were being fired left, right, and center. That stranglehold on culture has been broken because too many people now are speaking up and are concerned about the demographic change. How many migrants can you bring into a country before it is unrecognizable, before it is no longer British? Will England still be England if white English people are a minority? I don't know, but people are finally asking that question. You can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of reality, and reality is mugging a lot of people hard right now. So we are going to see more and more of these protests, increasing number of frustrated people. As Britain becomes increasingly lawless, there is a rise in petty crime, in phone thefts, in pickpocketing, in sexual offences, etc., etc., etc. There is an attempt at implementing two-tier justice. We saw a very serious attempt at implementing two-tier justice, in which people are sentenced differently according to their race, ethnicity, and religion. And we are seeing an era of stagnation. The United Kingdom is economically stagnant. Millionaires are leaving in their thousands, and they're leaving for more prosperous places like Dubai and Abu Dhabi. They're fleeing to the US. All of these things can no longer be ignored, and this is why this has happened. Now, the problem the United Kingdom faces, and places like France and Italy and Spain face, is that they are dealing with the first, second, third, and now many times fourth generation of migrants. These are people who are now fully British, fully French, at least on paper, and cannot be deported. Because the problem isn't just the problem of illegal migration, the problem is much broader than that. It is a problem of legal migration. How many millions of people can you bring in legally before your country changes beyond recognition? That walk that I did today from Mile End through Stepney Green and all the way to East London Mosque, witnessing majority Muslim areas in the very city centre, the very heart of London. How much more of that can a country take before it changes completely? Before the culture and the values that shaped this country disappear because they're being replaced by a new culture, a more aggressive culture? I don't know the answer to this question. But here is a word of warning to countries in Central and Eastern Europe that have not yet followed this path. There are countries from the Baltic Sea, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, all the way down to the Visegrad Group. Poland, Czechia, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, all the way down to the Adriatic into the Black Sea, that have not yet followed the policies that Western European countries have had for many decades. And this, I suppose, is the word of warning is, One of the consequences of mass migration is, amongst other things, polarization of society. The fact that there is a group of people on both sides of the road having a fight about whether there should be migration in the first place. Countries in Central and Eastern Europe don't have this discussion because they don't have mass migration. There's no need for this polarization. So if we look at the policies that have been implemented in France, in Spain, in Italy, in the UK, if we look at the positives and the negatives and we sum up their parts, I think we will broadly find that the negatives far outweigh the positives. I can't think of any major change that has happened in the United Kingdom that would make the United Kingdom a far better place because it has imported millions of migrants. So Poland, Czechia, Slovakia, Hungary, the Baltics and the Balkans should look at the policies that have been implemented in Western Europe and proceed with great caution in implementing migration policies to prevent the mistakes that have happened here and to avoid these consequences, including the polarization of society and having two groups of people screaming at each other across the street, shouting loud slogans that amount not to very much, because this fight on the street has no impact on the actual migration policies of this country. It's just angry people venting their frustrations.